All right, party planners, let's roll right along into 1C. So we're going to write expressions from a word problem. You already started writing them from phrases, like how this one is, the product of 2 and x was 2x. But now we're going to talk about word problems. So we're still going to use that knowledge of those operation words from our last packet, but we're going to do this with real-world situations instead. So we first need to figure out what the operations are going to be, then figure out how the numbers are involved with that, and check to see if it makes sense in the problem. Okay, so let's try a couple and see if we can figure it out. So we've got some parties going on. We got Jenna bought 40 cupcakes for her birthday party. The guests ate Y cupcakes. Write an expression to represent the number of cupcakes left over after the guests ate them. Okay, so we need to break it down here. First off, I see a number. Secondly, I see a variable. So they're not telling us exactly how many cupcakes the guests ate. But I'm thinking, well, if the guests ate them, they can't be adding them, right? They have to be subtracting those cupcakes from the total. Okay, so we know we're doing 40, and then the guests ate them, so then they subtract that y. And what our answer would be, even though we don't know what y is, that expression is going to represent the leftover cupcakes, right? Because it would be 40 minus however many they ate, and the answer would be how many were left over. So even though we don't know what y is, we can still represent this with an expression. And then later, we'll figure out how to solve, okay, when they give those to us later. So when we're doing this one, it would be 40 minus y, okay? 40 representing those cupcakes to start with. The guest that ate them is telling us subtraction, right? They're taking those away. And we're doing it by y. They didn't tell us how many, okay? We just know that we're subtracting. And so whatever the answer to this expression would be, even though we don't know it, is still going to represent the leftover after the guests ate them. So the expression to represent this is 40 minus y. And then if they were to tell us what y is, we can substitute in and solve. Okay? Let's look at the next question. Jenna's got some more party planning to do. So she has 30 guests coming to her party and wants to split them evenly between P tables, right? This is so many tables that they have using at this party, okay? Write an expression that represents the number of people at each table. So when I'm looking at this, I see again 30 guests, there's one of my numbers, and then I'm focusing on this word split, okay? I know split means to divide, so she's taking the guests and splitting them evenly between the P tables. So I don't know how many tables, but I know she has 30 guests. I know she's dividing them by P, which is representing the tables. And that expression represents how many people would be at each table. So even though I don't know, I know the expression is going to be 30 to represent her guests, split represents the divide part, and P represents however many tables she has. So when we do eventually know what P is, which we don't know yet, but when we do, we know that if we take 30 divided by whatever P is, that answer is going to be the number of people at each table. Okay? Let's take a look at one more. So all we're doing right now is just writing the expression. We have no numbers, so we can't solve, or no numbers for the variables at least, so we cannot solve. We are just writing the expressions to represent the situation. Okay, which I know some of you struggle with because you want to know the answer, but that is the answer in this case, and very soon we will have the numbers to substitute for those variables. Okay, just not yet. So this one says, party hats cost X dollars per package. For her party, Jenna needs 6 packages of hats. She also buys a balloon bouquet for $28. Write an expression to show Jenna's total cost. So she's buying hats, she's buying a balloon bouquet, lots going on here. So let's figure it out. So we know that the hats, the packages cost a certain amount. We don't know, but that's represented with X. But it says per package. Now I know we talked about per being multiplication or division. It really makes more sense for this problem for it to be multiplication because she's buying multiple packages and they each cost a certain amount. And so we're talking about multiplying. And she needs 6 packages of hats, so we're really multiplying 6 and X. So we're going to write 6X. However, that's not all she's buying. She's also buying this balloon bouquet that's just $28, just for that one balloon bouquet, not multiple. So because it's only that one time, we're just going to add that into her total cost. Right? And that expression is going to represent the total cost. So here's our final expression. 6x to represent the 6 packages of hats costing a certain amount of money. We don't know, but they each cost that, so that's why we're multiplying. Then we also need to add in her $28 for the balloon bouquet because there's just one of it. Okay, so we don't need to put any variable with it. It's just one balloon bouquet for $28, but we need to add it into her total. So all together, this whole expression represents Jenna's total cost for the materials she's buying. Okay? So if you need to go back and take a closer look, feel free, but otherwise, here's your next step. You have a table on the next page that is your practice. You have a word problem here, just like we did. You're going to tell me what operations are being used in that problem, So like, for example, if I was going to say the operations happening here, I would say multiplication and addition, right? They're adding the 28 and multiplying to figure out the packages. For these, I would have said subtraction for the first one, division for the second one. So some only have one operation, some have more than one. So you write what operation's happening, add, subtract, multiply, or divide, and then write the expression. So once you figure out that operation, think, well, what order do you need those numbers and variables in with those operations, okay? And then I do believe you check it with a friend first, then make sure you get that 1C quick check before you grab that level 1 formative assessment. You want to make sure you know how to do this, and don't forget that quick check. Then you can do the level 1. You got this.